Hey there, friendlies. Welcome to the 8th of June episode of the Beer Blades and Bushcraft live stream. Tonight, what I want to ask you all and talk to you about and blah, blah, blah is what's your outdoor superpower? I don't necessarily mean, do you wear a cape and traipse through the forest or fight crime with an axe or anything? I mean, are you really good at instilling an interest in the outdoors in children? Or are you an expert at fire lay? Or do you write songs about the outdoors that make people want to get out there? Or stuff? Hey, brother, we got Fox at Outdoors with us. We got Grace. Grace is on her way home from supper. I hope you're not staring at the screen while you're driving. Tenenbaum is here. Always a good night when Tenenbaum's around. And in fact, the subject for tonight was inadvertently suggested by Russell. He had pinged me and said, what's the subject tonight? And I said, dude, it's been a high oxygen week. I have no idea. And he said, what's your favorite superpower? I was like, Russell. But those went clickety clack, and that's what we're doing tonight. What is your outdoors superpower? Obviously, before we go any further, I want to do the housekeeping. If you're watching us time shifted to tomorrow, you rock. I love that. Just keep leaving the comments, and I will keep loving the fact that you're doing that. Russell, I was just telling people that you're kind of essentially the reason why tonight's subject came to be. And by the way, that's another thing. Not only when I say, excuse me, what's your outdoor superpower, do I not mean, wearing a cape and traipsing through the forest, breaking, the necks of evildoers. I mean, you don't even have to be a bushcrafter. Is your outdoor superpower more homestead related? Is it more education related? LT, he probably has an outdoor superpower because he works with cadets. And in fact, so LT is your outdoor superpower, the fact that you can get kids interested in the outdoors. Whatever it is, let's leave it nice and open. Whatever you may feel is your outdoor superpower. I want to know about it. You can drop it in the chat, or if you decide to come on screen for a little bit and say, should I show? Yeah. Okay, another moderator. Okay. So who's with us? We got Russell, we got LT, we have Two's Cruise. Hi, welcome to the stream. Oh, sorry, that was just a little conversation happening. Some of my regulars are wondering where I am. I had said in the community that I was going to be a little late because of a meeting for my daughter's school, but not everyone gets everything because YouTube's amazing that way. Ian the Web Lord says, I can see Russell running through the forest in a cape. Arg my eyes. And apparently, yes, I did in fact misspell live stream in the title. I was typing as fast as I could. I will just own that one. Maybe I'll edit it after the stream because no one will notice now that we've talked about it, right? I got a beverage tonight. I'm very excited with this bottle because this brand has been absent from Quebec for a long time, and they finally got some more. So I'm going to pour myself just a wee dram. Wee dramage. There we go. Going to be a good night. I'm optimistic. I like talking about optimistic stuffs, like superpowers. And part of the reason I want to talk about this is because I don't know what my outdoor superpower is. This year, I've sort of, I've been feeling like a real outdoor dilettante, just because I haven't been able to get out there. And so I don't even know if I asked myself that question, which I did right before going live. And at the end of the day, if I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know what my outdoor superpower is. I mean, I believe I have managed to instill a love of the outdoors in Camille, and that seems to be still intact. So do I hang my hat on that? Like, do I, is that my signpost? Is that my superpower? Hey, Mark, how's it going? Just gonna a wee dram. Well, it is Scottish, so I guess that makes sense. And in fact, Russell said something interesting here. If you don't know what your outdoor superpower is, you can at least discuss what you'd like it to be. I think. Hey, Chris Garland's here. How's it going? I think for me, there are a couple of superpowers, outdoor superpowers I'd like to have. I'm pretty good at fire lay, but I'd like to be like really good. I'd like to be able to start a fire in a rainstorm. I can start a fire in the rain, but if it's like really chucking it down, not so much. But I think that what I would really want my outdoor superpower to be would be plant and tree ID, because that opens up so much. Like, you'll never starve if you really know your plant ID. You may not eat well, but at least you won't poison yourself. And I'm always impressed by people who walk through the forest and have an easy familiarity with everything growing around them. I have the same regard for people who have spent 40 years sailing, and just they glance at the sky and they know what tomorrow's going to bring. And not without showing off, without sort of like being all like, well, you see this and that, like, just look up. Yeah, no, it's going to rain tomorrow. Like, how the hell do you know that? I've been sailing for 40 years. Like, that kind of knowledge, the kind of knowledge that is just couched in someone, and it just fits them like a pair of slippers. I'm always impressed by that. And I feel the same way when I see someone who's been using a knife for 4 decades or a bass guitar for 4 decades, and how they just know the item that's in their hands. They know exactly what it can and cannot do. They know exactly where to push and where to sort of not push. And at the end of the day, when they pick it up, it's an extension of who they are. I love watching that. I love seeing that. I love the ease and the comfort with which these people use these items. And like, knowledge is the same. Excuse me, guy. We were up to the wee hours dealing with a pool problem last night. And so I guess that's where this concept of what's your outdoor superpower comes from. Like, what do you know well enough to confidently call it your superpower? And at the end of the day, one thing I definitely wish was my outdoor superpower was the ability to just instill that, know that I'm instilling in Camille or children or other people a knowledge and a passion for the outdoors. I just want to see if LT answered my passing on passion he would add. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because LT, I said before, works with cadets, so passing on the passion for the outdoors seems to be his, which is legit. That's for sure. Just want to say, Mark was just watching Dennis's show. That looked like a really good episode tonight. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen that. His channel is just taken off. You talking about the plant the plant ID one? Yeah, okay, Ian. I definitely think that's a legit one, and I think that a lot of people here would probably, if you get in, if that was your outdoors superpower. I'm sorry about the yawning, guys. Um, that's a good one, and it's funny. Like, I feel that you're just kind of being funny here, but for some people, that really is not easy to do. For some people, it's man, I just wish I could, have a cabin or something. And hold on a second, guys. Still here. Um, hey, Martin's here. How's it going? Yeah, knife sharpening would be a really good outdoor superpower, especially if you could just sharpen your knife on any old rock. Man, I mean, you can sharpen your knife on any old rock, but guys who can do that really well, I love that. Wants to see Cliff join me on screen so we can watch him eating. But like, as opposed to every other live stream you see him in. Martin's got a good one. I would say keeping dry in all weather conditions and seasons is my strength out there. Yeah. Martin's been dropping some knowledge on me about that. And it seems like it's A, not as easy as it seems, but B, kind of a whole lot more common sense than it seems. Hold on, the problem is it makes me want to paddle, says Mark. Oh yeah, I realized I'd said, hey, guys, come on briefly and tell me what you think your outdoor superpower is, and then I didn't put the damned link. Sorry about that, folks. Do you have pretzel sticks? I find nibbling on pretzel sticks, eating very slowly, keeps me awake during driving when I'm really tired. That's not a bad idea, actually. Except, of course, that I have to avoid the salt. I do like pretzels, though, and there's less sodium in pretzels generally than there is in chips. So pretzels are a win. Says to tell my wife, you said cheers for putting up with our Tuesday night hijinks. All right, I'll pass that along. LT says master of everything would be awesome. Yeah, but that's cheating. Nobody's the master of everything. Like nobody. Some people are the master of many things, but Russell, here's one for you. Is watching Cliff eat that sublime? I would say bear fighting might be a good outdoor superpower, but maybe a little more high octane than I was thinking. Martin says that keeping dry in all sorts of weather is largely common sense, but some things are counterintuitive. And now that is an interesting comment. That's a very, very interesting comment. Because stuff that's counterintuitive can be the most important part, Martin is also, good at packing small and light for a canoe trip. I am crap at packing small and light. Absolute garbage. I don't know. I'm one of those guys who's like, I want to pack as little as possible. And then I end up having packed like everything. Like stuff I'm never going to. Man, give it a break. That's a superpower I should definitely develop, though. Being able to pack light, especially because it's what I want to do. I don't like having too much stuff on me. I don't. I like to pack as light as possible. I've been getting a little better at it when it comes to just traveling. You guys remember traveling, right? Now, whoops. Damn it.
comment right as I clicked. Sort of what I wanted to say was Tenenbaum says I can attract every biting insect in the vicinity. Is that a power? That's we both have that power, and I'd like to give that power back. Thank you very much. Actually, Russell says that, hell yeah, people would want you on every trip. That's true. If all the bugs are around you and they're leaving everyone else alone, then that kind of is a superpower. Oh, man. If you do a midweek live with guests, that'd be amazing. Because Fridays are just about you, eh? And occasionally the misses. So good. There you go. Just making sure I'm not missing out on any of the side chat. I think, the thing that Tenenbaum said about attracting every insect in the vicinity, I keep bringing this up, and because it keeps popping into my head that, like, how the hell did people deal with black flies before there was bug spray? The way I usually phrase it is, how the heck do the First Nations people deal with swarms of insects? Not by going out of their minds the way we do. And I think we may have talked about this. I think we might have talked about this like last year or the year before. That some of you guys had some ideas, and that maybe we bathe too much, and that creates like a scent profile that really works well for mosquitoes or whatever. I have a buddy at work who, whenever he steps into mosquito-infested land, he always brings a cigar with him and lights it up. Even though he doesn't smoke in, in the day-to-day, he thinks it works well. I do know that if you have a nice big, campfire, you're not going to have that big a problem with mosquitoes. So maybe there is something to it. I'm not sure. Hold on a second. You're the second person I've heard talk about a thermocell in the past 4 days. I got to take a look at those things. It's a little more high tech than I'd like to go, but I've heard that they can be quite effective. Smoking themselves in animal grease all over themselves. Okay. Smoking themselves makes sense. I don't really want to smear animal grease all over myself, though. I don't like the way that kind of thing feels. But yeah, there's definitely something makes sense to me about that. Martin says, that's weird. I thought about First Nations versus insects just today. I never know when you're being serious, Russell. Fox said they likely burnt dry bundles of sage mixed with greens of some sort. Again, there's the smoke motif. I can confirm that lack of cleanliness makes no difference on bugs. Yeah, it probably makes no sense at all. Tenenbaum says, Weblord, I honestly don't mind mosquitoes. Once you've experienced full-on Northern Ontario black flies, mosquitoes are a joke. True. Hey, look who's here. How's it going, mister? What we're talking about tonight is I'm asking people what their outdoor superpower is. And some people have come up with some really cool responses. I'm still not sure what my outdoor superpower is, but I know I have a couple of ideas what I'd like it to be. Okay, this is a good point that Martin makes. Animal grease feels a whole lot better than thousands of insect bites, any of which can become infected. Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Oh, Russell's got one of those thermocell things. Okay, so they're good like in a cabin or whatever, but okay. So, that's okay. So they're good in a cabin, but not outdoors. But if I'm hitting the woods, like for a bushcraft kind of session, instead of like like a hot tent or something, then that's going to be useless, right? Like if I'm sleeping just under a tarp. Tenenbaum reminded me that I had yet to post a link. I thought I did, but of course, just hitting enter does not work in this app. Russell says my outdoor superpower might just be getting my ATV stuck. Now, is that like a superpower, or is that like an anti-hero superpower? Dave, you and I both have that superpower, and I think a lot of people here might have that one. Absolutely. But I mean, it's what Russell threw back at me is legit for any of you guys. If you don't feel that you have an outdoor superpower, is there one that you really want? Do you want to be like the best at firelay that you know? Do you want to have better plant ID? Do you have, do you want to be able to sleep anywhere? Right? Tent, fine. Cabin, great. Hammock, I'll take it. Nothing except a blanket of moss under the stars, fabulous. That would be a superpower. As I've gotten older, I kind of need more and more padding or support to sleep without waking up with a crick in my neck and stuff. So maybe with the ability to just curl up under a log and sleep happily in the woods, would that be a good superpower? That would be a good superpower, actually. There you go. He's a black belt at drawing smoke. See, you're not alone, man. So good. I mean, look. I guess there is room in this kind of question to be absolutely ridiculous, I want to be able to swing through the woods, swinging an axe, solving crime and stuff. But I mean, that's not a really interesting question, then, is it? Hey, Hike with Mike is here. Hi. Hike with Mike. I'm asking people tonight what their outdoor superpower is. Got some good stuff happening in the side chat. What's yours, Hike? I guess, and I had explained that I didn't mean wearing capes and stuff. I meant like, what's your like? How do you explain a superpower without calling it a superpower? Right? You know what I'm saying? LT says, as military, I can sleep in most situations when you're talking about, even in a steel coffin. Oh, an M113, right? Yeah. So yeah, that is a superpower then. Absolutely. The chipmunk did it with a knife. How big a knife could a chipmunk really carry, though? Like, what's the size of the victim we're talking about here? Hey, Simone's here. Salut, monsieur. Ce soir, je demande, c'est quoi ton outdoor superpower? J'imagine que t'as quelques-uns. Hike says, my superpower would be the power of mellowness. You definitely have that superpower. Absolutely. Your videos are like comfort food, man. Absolutely. That's a good superpower to have. I think I might have mentioned him before, but Kenneth Cram kind of has that superpower as well. Like watching his videos can really, you can zen right the hell out watching Kenneth Cram videos. I don't remember if that's the name he actually uses for his channel or if it's just like his name. I mean, I know it's his name, but I don't remember if he calls his channel Kenneth Cram. Okay, that's important to know, Russell. He says that's why the chipmunks always get away with it. Nobody suspects them. But don't turn your back on a chipmunk when there's a cleaver nearby. Very, very important piece of knowledge right there, guys. You can take that one to the bank. My superpower in the woods is not drinking coffee. I'm good with just water. Again, considering some of the people I know, that is a superpower. I'm not surprised, Hike. I'm not surprised you love you some Kenneth Krem. Yeah. I think he's just got such a nice energy, you know? Like just real sort of laid back, real kind of. I don't even know how to explain exactly what it is, but a nice sort of low key energy to him. I try to disconnect. I really do. It's hard to do, but I really try to, if I'm out there, disconnect as much as possible from the rest of the world. And then like I'll get a texto from someone and start a conversation. But I try at any rate. Raspberry Rock is Kenneth crammed, full of knowledge and beer. Now, when one is crammed full of beer, one thinks one has more knowledge than one can maybe have. So if you're crammed with beer, are you sure that you're crammed with knowledge? Are you secure in that feeling you have there? Asking for a friend. Hiker Mike says, Nibbymox is a great mellow channel too. Canoes in the Minnesota Boundary Waters area. Okay, I'll take a look at that. Chris says, my superpower goal, which is an important point here, is being able to read the weather better. Absolutely. Me too. I am very good at noticing that it is raining on me. No, I'm just being funny. I'm pretty good at sensing when rain is on its way, but I can't necessarily tell you if it's going to rain tomorrow. Like I'll say, man, in a few hours we're going to get it. And I'm almost always right, but it's seeing what tomorrow is going to look like that I wish I could have a better sense for. Dave says, in all seriousness, I have a knack for sensing the slightest change in my environment. That one sounds virtually primordial. Like, you know how 10,000 years ago, I'm pretty sure that people could sense any change in their environment because God knows if there wasn't like a saber-toothed cat or something ready to carry off one of the, youngsters or, men or whatever. But has that ability ever sort of really helped you out in any case, Dave, or is it just something that you just notice things? Well, I'm waiting for Dave to answer that. Russell says that, okay, the funny thing is, of the real powers we've discussed, fire making, plant ID, and all that, they're attainable. That's, yeah. I think it's important to realize that about so many of the skills that we watch on YouTube's or see friends do better than us or whatever, that all it takes is agonizing effort, man. You know what I'm saying? And who the hell doesn't want to do that kind of effort? Sitting out there in the woods practicing your, I don't know, hand drill or whatever, or showing youngsters the magic of the growing world. Attainability is a game changer for people who want to do things like this, right? If I wanted to be an astronaut, the attainability is questionable. But if I want to be a bushcrafter,
all you have to do is get past the philosophy that all you have to do is keep buying the books and the equipment, right? That you have to actually get out there. And that makes all this stuff very, very human. You know, there's nothing superhuman about any of this. It's very egalitarian. You know, okay, if you have a $800 knife that I can't afford, fine. But that's that's the curtains, right? That's not the framework. If you're better at fire lay than I am, all I have to do is practice and maybe rethink the way I do it. That's it. I don't have to buy anything. I can buy things, but it's not an economic thing. It's not a being born into a certain class thing. It's not a being bitten by a spider and suddenly thwip kind of thing. It's not being from Krypton. It's not being nuked so that every time you get angry, you turn green and huge. The stuff we can do is like playing the bass. You know, all it takes is effort. It's like improving your ferro rod. It just takes effort. It takes effort to become really good at leather craft. Becoming a great cook. Being able to bake. Painting. I mean, like acrylics or watercolors. I don't mean painting a wall, although that takes effort as well. But these are all very human things. You know, there's nothing supernatural. There's nothing superhuman. And that makes them kind of cool, right? Because there's no class associated with them. There's nothing associated with them except, you know, human being, knowledge, effort, outdoors. That's the best kind of damn superpower you can have. Dropping that invite again, and I'm going to see what I've missed here. Ten Bomb says, there was a time when portaging was my superpower, but one grows old. Yeah, man, does one ever grow old? Holy crap. Russell, yeah, hold on. Wait. I want to check this first. The more we are away from the woods, the less aware we are of our surroundings, Hike with Mike says. Yep. Yeah, that dovetails with stuff like this, right? You know, there's a lot of that in this book. I just happen to have it next to me because I was doing a presentation at work. This book goes into that a lot. Not in so many words, but it deals with that concept a fair amount. Russell asks, here's another question. If we had every outdoor superpower, would you still enjoy it? And I probably wouldn't. Or rather, I wouldn't enjoy it as much because for me, the actual joy of doing outdoorsy stuff is the being in the outdoors. You know, the joy of doing a good fire lay, or I don't know, smoking some pieces of bison into jerky, or well, actually, that's pretty good by itself, to be straight with you. But you know, all the little skills and stuff, I find joy in that kind of thing. But it's I was going to say it's a tertiary joy, but it's more like a secondary joy. The main joy for me is to sit there and be surrounded by trees instead of buildings. If something passes me in the night, it's like a wolf clan, a wolf herd, wolf pack. I'm too tired for this tonight. It's a wolf pack or a moose or something instead of a bus. That's the main joy. All the little skills and stuff, they give me the fizz, but they're not. That's the secondary joy. That's the tier 2 joy. That's where like the superpowers come in, right? To quote The Edge, what one man can do, another can do. Truth. Sometimes there's luck involved, but very often it's just work.
Yeah, Martin, I believe we've talked about bow fire drills a bit. Did you put up something on Instagram or Facebook or something? I remember us having a real brief couple of words about it. Irish Adventure Talk says, my superpower is to be me and not like everyone else. That's fair. Hike misses playing with a band. I also miss playing with my band. But, it'll happen. It'll happen. Optimism is key here, guys. Mm-hmm. So good. So good. Oh, Russell says he's going to come up at 10. That's in 20 minutes. Pie Martin was less than impressed with the scholarship. I don't know. Maybe there was confirmation bias there for me or something, but I didn't really have too much problem with that. I think there's a difference between writing for the general public and writing for academics. Speaking as someone who used to work at the office of the dean of one of the schools at McGill University, I discovered that there's the rigor that you have to bring to an academic paper doesn't mean that not bringing quite that rigor to a less scholarly work means that the less scholarly work is wrong or is on shakier ground. I have this problem reading, and this is way outside the scope of the conversation, but I love Professor Brian Cox. Okay. And if I'll watch anything that he's doing, whether it's one of his series or I'm watching a YouTube of one of his lectures. He is an ideal science communicator when he's standing in front of a camera or an audience. But I tried to read one of his books, and it was one step below an academic paper. And the fact is that I'm, as someone who does not live and die by grants and scholarships and stuff like that, the book it passed. It didn't go above my head because I got the concepts, but it went right to the side of me. I couldn't finish it. Ian the Web Lord is kind of answering Russell here as well. He's saying that the challenge of being outdoors leads to the satisfaction of being outdoors. Yes, I'll change the thumbnail. I will make a thumbnail. I don't know what the thumbnail will be, but I'll make one. Maybe I'll just grab a random picture and throw it in there. Yeah. Martin, I think it was something like that. It was something on Facebook, I think. Yeah. Oh yeah, because I was very impressed by it. And he said, "Hey, calm down, dude. It wasn't that easy or something." But I was still impressed by it because I have yet to be successful. So Mark is asking something that are you using duck down to block the wind from cooling your heat point on your bow drill? How are you saying, like, do you surround it with something, or do you? Because I imagine you're not packing the area with duck down. Now there's an interesting comment by Russell. That's something I've regretted for a long while. Never learning a more mainstream instrument, i.e. guitar, so I could join a band. I do wish I was a better guitar player. But not so that I can play guitar on stage. I just find it's way easier to write a song on guitar than on bass. And also the acoustic guitar to me, because why not go all the way off topic again? I'll be real brief.
To me, the acoustic guitar is the perfect instrument. Absolutely perfect. That's like the pinnacle of musical instrument design and character for me. Um, there are things like the Irish bouzouki and stuff that I feel come very close, and especially because I like the Celtic tones a little more out of those. But no, the acoustic guitar, the folk guitar, not necessarily the classical one, man, that is the perfect musical instrument to me. So I wish I was better at it. I'm an absolute dilettante at guitar. Period. Martin says he has a whole bunch of proven Bodril sets made up for others to learn on. Interesting. I think I tried to make a set at one point. It's back there somewhere. It's probably dry enough that I could just rub it like this and it'll catch fire at this point. Hey Dave.
Yo, what's up? What's happening, man?
Just kicking back, having a little scotch, chatting with some friends.
Nice. Figured I'll join for a few minutes here. I have about 20 minutes before I have a friend of mine who's going to drop by, so I'll jump on real quick.
Fair enough. Do you actually have something that you would consider your outdoor superpower?
Like I was mentioning earlier, it's just more of my situational awareness, I guess. I kind of have a knack for noticing the slightest changes in my environment, whether it's just like the wind changing, whether it's like sounds that are foreign to the environment or weather patterns, etc. I just kind of have this sixth sense, I guess you want to call it, but that just might kind of come from what you mentioned earlier about that more like of a primordial skill that we have. That's just a muscle that we use more when we're in those environments. And maybe I just notice it a little bit more. So
it's not something that you had to work on. It's just something that's there because you're always out in the woods, probably.
I think we all have that. We all have that ability, but again, it's just like a muscle that if you don't use it very often, then you're probably not really gonna have that sense of awareness. And maybe because I spend so much time in that particular environment that any little change I notice right away, whether it's just like, something's off about this environment. It's different today. The birds are not as active. The weather is changing. We have overcast tonight, so that means it's going to be warmer. It's a clear sky. There's northern lights. It means it's going to be colder. The winds are changing. So it's like a lot of the decisions that you make in real time, having that data, that situational awareness, I think kind of dictates the outcome of the activities that you have. And there's been times where I've been out and I've had this sense where I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to stay at the camp tonight. I'm not going to venture home. And sure enough, later that evening, we either had, the winds changed or it was just a very cold night or there was problems with my snow machine, those kind of things. So it was just, having that experience, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny because this weekend we finally went to my mother-in-law's on Start Again. This weekend we finally went to see my mother-in-law at her place on Lac de Montagne, and it was like a beautiful, warm, sunny day, but it just smelled like there was going to be rain, and it had rained earlier, so I was like, oh, it's just a petrichor and stuff from earlier. I was like, man, I don't know, and I looked out across. The sky started to look a little darker and stuff, or like clouds happening. But I mean, you can have a pretty cloudy day with no rain. But I was like, this smells and feels like there's going to be rain. And I looked way across the lake, and sure enough, I mean, you know what rain looks like when it's 10 kilometers away, right? Or like 5 kilometers away, or like then 2 kilometers away, and then like almost on top of you. You know what I'm saying? So I had to shout to my wife, it's coming in, get the kids, get out of the lake, kind of thing. But it's funny how like you don't think about this stuff. It's like, man, I think it's gonna rain today. You don't think of what that means, like where that comes from. Like if we go with it being, part of our primordial tool set that most of us just don't ever use anymore, then, I mean, it's not magic, but it's not far enough off to count almost. Like it's if it is something that innate and that ancient in us, then it enchants me because I love that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I had that same feeling. There's just something about being in that environment. And I kind of wonder if a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're not as distracted when we're on the land or we're in the bush. You know, when I'm home, there's a lot of
Yeah.
information, visual stimulation. I'm on my phone. I'm worried about text messages. I'm thinking of work, those type of things.
Yep.
But when you get on the land, then you can truly like decompress when you're outside of cell phone service, when you're outside of the network, and you sit back, you kind of default back into this place where it's like, I'm not being consumed with data. Well, the data that's coming in is a different type of data, but it's like you're able to look outwards, you know, you're able to look beyond the top of your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that those senses, like they long for that. They desire that. That's what we're meant to do, you know? And it's just, I think that's why, you know, when people get out into the bush and they spend time there, it's a great way to wind down, to decompress. And it's like, I need to reconnect with nature. And I think a lot of that is just unplugging from, you know, from the rat race as it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I appreciate that sentiment because I share it in a big way. And the rat race is a powerful phenomenon. It can feel sometimes like, I was sort of referring to this earlier in the stream when someone said the outdoor superpower I would like is to be able to just go out into the woods and disconnect completely, kind of thing. Or that's not exactly how you put it, but you know, just go into the woods and be there. Like, how many of us hit the woods to relax and to not pay for therapy, as I always like to say? But how often are you sitting there and there's a bill and just scratches at the back of your head? You know, like, less often than it could happen for me, for instance. But like, do you feel sometimes that even getting away from the rat race, it does still kind of impede your experience in that way? Like, you're trying to relax, but there's something that causes you stress, and it keeps popping up. Or can you just like disconnect completely when you're in the woods?
I mean, like, I think, you know, we all struggle with that type of work-life balance, you know, to be able to turn it on and turn it off. And I think at certain points of the year, certain points of my career, I think I'm better at it than other times.
Okay.
And but I truly try to have that ability to, you know what, it'll work, do my job. And I think that, you know, having that self-care and that self-love and doing the things that you enjoy doing is more important at the end of the day.
Okay.
Being able to disconnect and turn it off. Like, for an example, Vivian and I were out last week on the Great Slave Lake, and there's a lot of ice still on the lake. And we took our boat out, and we managed to get out pretty close to the island, where we're like, I could see the island, but I couldn't get to it because there were too many ice pans in there on the island.
Okay.
But it was such a beautiful night, and you know, the ducks were landing on the lake. The lake was glass. You couldn't see, like, you couldn't tell the difference between the lake and the sky. It was just a mirror image. And I remember just kind of like taking a big breath in and looking around, and I'm like, man, like, this moment right now, this is what it's all about here right now.
Yeah.
And I recognized that moment for what it was, and I truly lived in the moment. And I think that's what we really need to practice. That's what we need to achieve, I think, in order to have that meditative state or that Zen state, to be able to actually appreciate the things that we're doing and recognizing that moment and being able to live in the moment. And for whatever reason, that just stuck with me. And there's times where you can be so consumed with work and stress and all of these other things that's going on in life that where you're unable to wind down enough to be able to notice those little things, to be able to live in that moment. And, you know, that's something that for me is a lifelong quest, is to be able to, you know, to work on that. So to answer your question,
I definitely struggle with that too, by the way. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it depends upon what type of like what's going on in my life at that time, but ultimately that would be my goal.
Yeah, I get that. Absolutely. Tenenbaum is saying that sounds like Professor Cox should try writing like he speaks, at least for books for a general audience. Absolutely, because when he speaks, he's so just. Hold on one second. I'm just trying to catch up because I've absolutely lost track of the side chat. I want to make sure that there are no questions to you, for instance, here that we're missing.
I see one from IRC. I think he asked me, what about something that was moved slightly from the last time you saw it? Yeah, I kind of have that weird knack as well, where it's like if I come home and if I'm like something isn't quite right, or if I go back to my tent and if something is not quite right, I'm obvious suspect that something
Okay.
something was there.
You're not like OCD or something, are you?
No. It just, again, just kind of paying attention. Like, I mean, like everything in the bush is for me is is like a system, right? Like there's a way to break camp, there's a way to set up camp,
Yeah.
there's a way to live at camp, there's a way to break down camp, and there's a way to pack out camp. And the more you do it, the more efficient you become with it. So it's like I know when I leave my camp that I do things in a certain way because that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And if
Okay.
I come back and if I notice that something was out of place, either I didn't complete that particular step the last time, which is unlikely, or something may have happened in that, in that time that I was away.
And would that be just a short-term thing, or would you notice if like you'd left your tent for a week or a week and a half or whatever, and you came back and there was something slightly positioned differently? Would you notice that, or is it really just a short-term thing? Look, that wasn't like that this morning.
Yeah, like I think it's like it's not something that I'm conscious of when I go back, but it's like if I go to complete a task and if something is out of place or something isn't the way that it was how I remembered it the last time, then I'll kind of notice it. But it's it's more for the short term. Like it's not like a long term thing. It's just patterns, I guess, that I just notice patterns and things.
Pattern recognition.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Hold on a second. There's some conversation about bow drills here in the side chat, so I'm just wondering if I should put some of it up, or it looks like they're just having a conversation that I don't really need to jump all over. But there's another question for you. Not sure if Russell's really being serious about this, but actually, yeah, that's an interesting question. Do you like when you're on streams or talking to people from down south? Does anyone ever ask you about that kind of thing?
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, I'll see that comment in my comment sections on a regular basis. It's
Really?
usually a question about. There's 3 common themes. There's usually, have you seen the Sasquatch? Have you seen Bigfoot / Bushman? That's kind of the 3 different terms that's used. And then the next is, have you seen anything unusual in the night skies? So it's basically.
And are all of these questions asked by Russell by any chance?
It very well could be. I mean, there's a lot of accounts that seem to have a combination of Raspberry Rock, off grid, Russell.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, there's always people that ask those questions. But I think that's common on like any outdoor channel. Like I think that's probably a pretty common question.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just want to point out this comment by Heck with Mike. Right on with the lack of cell phone access when you're in places where there is no cell phone. It truly is liberating, and I'm lucky I go to my swamp, which is 15 minutes away and no cell phone service. Yeah, it's funny because if I lose my cell phone service, I spend a good 10 minutes like jonesing. But then once I get used to it, I find not having that constant potential for distraction to be kind of liberating. Like I can just live in the woods, right? I just live in the moment. There's nothing but the woods and the smells and the feel of the breeze and all that stuff. And I'm not thinking about, I wonder how my kids are doing, or, oh, is somebody going to call me, or, maybe I should play a video game or something. Like it's hard to unload this from your day to day, but once you do, it becomes liberating not to have it poking at you all the time. And so yeah, I love that feeling. Grace got home. Nice. Glad to see you're home. Camper69 says, man, I am so far behind. Sorry about this, guys. I love sitting in the middle of the woods next to waterfalls. So relaxing. Absolutely. A lot of waterfalls around you, Dave?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Out of my part of the lake, there's not.
Okay. People are saying hi to each other. Russell, of course. Of course. This is the most Russell comment ever. I love seeing the wilderness when I look out the window. Cliff says, if you ever want to see an interesting change, stay about a week with me in the woods. After like 3 days, I start to get a little strange, but in an interesting way. Cliff? I don't know what that means. Hey, Shawnee's here. Shawnee sort of clocks in with a vote of appreciation for being in the woods. There's always something to see while watching nature. What's landing, crawling, creeping in the yard today. Seasons changing, smells. Yeah, and that's legit for sure. Absolutely. Actually, Russell wasn't necessarily being as funny as I thought he was. He says, I get asked about Sasquatch all the time. It surprises me how many people believe it. I think that people, and I don't know if maybe there's more of this in the city where we're surrounded by 90-degree angles, but I think people want to believe in stuff like that because in a world with no magic, it's just a lonelier existence, right? For me, I have the same feeling whenever I see a headline that, scientists have decided that dark matter or dark energy was just a mathematical error, so it doesn't exist. I'm like, no, don't take away the mysteries out there. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that for a certain extent, people who believe in Sasquatch or Ogopogo or whatever, I think that supernatural things like that speak to part of them that may be dormant. Am I making any sense here? Like people want to believe that there are fairies and stuff because the world seems richer when there's magic in it. I don't know if I'm making any sense here.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of, traditions and legends and storytelling and things that make us feel warm and fuzzy inside. We have what makes us unique, I guess, as humans is that we need to ascribe meaning to things, and I think that depending upon where you stand on that scale of, like what your belief systems are, people kind of like to have that, right? Like they like to have that woo, they like to have that magic, they like to have that fantasy thoughts, to think that something could exist outside of, the normal pattern. And, it's fascinating. That's what all makes us individuals. Some people will take more of a scientific approach and try to, debunk it, and other people will sit back and just kind of get lost with those ideas or concepts.
Yeah, it's funny. I just reminded myself of one night Camille lost a tooth, and we have this thing where every time she loses a tooth, I get to draw. I get to write a letter from the tooth fairy in French, which is hard, and like leave her at $2 or whatever for the tooth, right? I don't know how I ended up because I can draw and my wife can't. So I've gotten very good at a very specific handwriting. It's not calligraphy, but it's a handwriting, and I do this thing. Man, one night I forgot. Absolutely forgot. I went to bed at 3 because I was working on something. I don't remember what. And the next morning I woke up and I'm running around and getting stuff ready. And I glance up the stairs, and damn it, if Camille isn't sitting there at the top of the stairs with tears in her eyes. I said, what? And she said, she didn't come. And so I said, it might have been a busy night sometimes for me. She came later in the day and left me an extra note to explain and blah, 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 which is what the tooth fairy finally did. When Camille got home from school, there was a note there from from the Tooth Fairy saying, "Look, I'm sorry that I wasn't there," and blah blah blah. But man, she believed. And the day when she started questioning it, I was like, "Don't give up on the magic just yet, kiddo. You know, the world is going to force you to be an adult soon enough. Just don't give up on the magic just yet." Because once they stop believing in one of them, everything falls, right? Tooth Fairy, what?
Definitely.
Easter Bunny, come on, it's a rabbit. Santa Claus, and like whenever one of those sort of drops away, it's weird because I'm not a religious person. Okay, I'm spiritual in some ways, but I'm a lover of science. But still, every time some of the magic gets sort of disintegrated or falls away, the world does seem just a little more monochrome. And it surprises me that I feel that way because I do love me some science. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you.
That's not an outdoor superpower, Jesse. Stop talking about that. I just want to catch up just to see if anyone's asked any other questions in the side chat here.
Yeah, no worries, Jess. My friend just texted me. He's outside of my house right now, so I'm going to go meet
All
up
right.
with him. I do appreciate our chat tonight and everybody in the
Yep. Thanks for hanging out.
Comment section. You guys stay safe, and
Yep.
we'll talk again later.
Nice to see you again. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks.
Russell says I dropped Facebook like third period history if it wasn't for my, I guess that's Raspberry Rock page. I feel pretty similar about Facebook, to be straight with you. I use it mostly for no, I don't use it mostly for, I only got Facebook because at that time it was the only way I could see my band's Facebook page. Like whatever it was 17 years ago. No, because Facebook came along later than that. But you know, back in the day when you had to be a member to see the pages. I don't know if that's still true or not. But now I've got like 2 Facebook pages because I've got a personal one that I kind of don't take that much care of, to be straight with you. And then of course there's my Rain Dance Bushcraft page. But yeah, I don't love the Facebooks. Oh, Cliff says, to elaborate on my statement, this is the one he said about spend a week with him in the woods. After a few days in the woods, a different nature of mine starts to present itself, and I start seeing and hearing more of the woodland than I would particularly like. Well, that doesn't sound like that's a superpower. That sounds like it might be an issue for you. I don't go into that headspace very much. I after a few days, as my stop yawning, as my not my appreciation, but my awareness of the surroundings becomes richer, shall we say. I get my appreciation kicks in. I'm not saying that if I'm out there alone in the tiny circle of light around a little fire and I hear something big move, that I'm not scared, shiftless. But I'm a person who loves his solitude and loves the woods. So if I'm out there a few days in the woodland, I'm not going to the same place that you're describing, Cliff. Scott Hebert or Hebert was one of those right? I was just going to say Scott Hebert because I live in Quebec, but I have no idea. Howdy, Sasquatch territory is my neck of the woods. So I assume that you get asked fairly often if you've ever seen Sasquatch. I would love to know where the Sasquatch myth came from. Like what somebody saw one night that gave birth to the Sasquatch. Russell.
Howdy,
hey, Bubbles. How's that?
It's just Russell tonight.
Just Russell, no Bubbles?
Well, I mean, if you really want, I can bring Bubbles in.
It's okay. I don't want you to feel forced or nothing.
Oh, force me, baby. Hold on, I gotta fix this. God damn, why don't they have a night mode on this yet?
I have the same problem.
I was gonna come out earlier, but I didn't want to steal Dave's show. Dave's a cool guy to talk to.
Yeah, but he would be okay with you being on as well.
Oh no, I know he would, but I know I actually had a question for Dave. I was going to ask, which is what is his summertime video schedule look like? Like he does lots of videos in the wintertime, and I'm the same way. Like my wintertime videos do so much better than my summertime videos. So I was wondering if he's just taking the time off, or is he just gonna put up like stuff?
Well, he usually does van life in the summer, doesn't he?
I don't think he usually does anything in the summer.
Nothing?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I know he did van life like years ago, but last. In fact, I think he took like a year and a half off.
Yeah, he did. He took a break. I don't know. I don't remember for how long, but yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Russell, here's a comment from Russell saying, I'd love to believe in fairies or pixies or dragons or wizards or hot princess elves. Legit. But Sasquatch?
Yeah, this speaks to me. Because you guys were talking about wanting to believe in something.
Yeah.
Like Sasquatch. Well, pick something better than that to believe in.
Well, that's why I would love to know where that came from. And it's probably like a First Nations thing back in the day or something. But I would love to know where the belief in Sasquatch came from, because we don't live on a landmass that has apes or anything like that, right? Unless somebody saw like a grizzly standing on its hind legs or something.
It's a great question, because, as I said, I get asked all the time, but I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if it comes from First Nations.
I don't either. I'm just pulling an example out of the ether. But
That's a fair point. Fair point.
Now, Scott says Sam Squatch, which is important to know. But then Cliff follows it up with, what about the half elk orc princess? And I'm thinking the half orc part negates the half elf part.
Are you gonna post my next comment? You're probably not.
I will. Hold on. Scott Hebert says that I think the truth is that most people have no idea anything about the good old outdoors. Yeah. Okay. So what he's saying is that maybe, except that Sasquatch has been around long enough that I don't know. So Russell says they don't exist, Cliff. Come on, man, get your lore straight.
That's not the next comment I posted.
Isn't it?
No.
I don't see another comment from you between those two.
It's the one after that. Sorry.
Oh.
Not wearing my glasses.
Scott, my daughter is back. I would have helped her write a grievance with the Tooth Fairy unit guy. Dude, you have no idea how I felt when she was sitting up there and crying and disappointed. I was like, holy shift. I gotta make this right. Well, wait, Cliff, you've been watching some weird Japanese cartoons. I was just talking about Japanese cartoons at work today.
The weird ones, or
not really the weird ones, because I don't want to say anything not safe for work while I'm at work. But I was talking about how I'm not like an across the board anime fan, but I have a few favorites, but most of them are really old, like 80s era.
Oh, if you want to talk anime, there's some good stuff there.
But there are some really good, more recent ones. But there's always a weirdness to them that I find compelling. Either with one called Ranma, it's a boy and his dad are both karate masters, and if one of them gets doused in cold water, the boy turns into a girl, or the dad turns into a panda. You douse them with hot water and they turn right back, and it's because they were training in like a cursed spring. And just like the kind of stories that I would never be able to come up with. Speaking of superpowers. But yeah, so thanks for mentioning the Japanese cartoons.
That would be an interesting superpower, like
Changing
interesting-
genders.
No. Interesting anime storytelling. What are you doing? You hawking a loogie there? Or?
No, I'm creaking my way across the floor to show you that I wasn't making it up. It's true.
Oh, you know what? I told you I was going to send you some pages, and I totally forgot.
Damn it. So Dave is gone.
What do you want to see? Do you want to see a full script, or do you want to see like just? Ooh, where did that go? Just some pages.
You were gonna say third period French, but you didn't want to offend Simo. You were real giving that way.
I picked Simone at random, to be honest.
Okay.
There's a bunch of French people here, right? Sorry, I shouldn't say French people. Quebecois, French Canadian. You know what I mean?
Well, another interesting question, which is again not an outdoor superpower, but I've had this conversation with someone once because I was talking about French Canadians. This conversation happened completely in French, and she said that that's such a nice historical term. It's makes her think of les habitants and all this. And I said, "What I grew up in Franco, Manitoba, right? So we're not all Quebecois."
So you can be French Canadian, but not be from Quebec.
Yeah, you can be Franco Manitoba, and you can be Franco Ontarian. You can come from New Brunswick.
You know what's funny is you've seen my wife, right?
Yeah,
she's from the Caribbean, and her French she took French all through high school and into university, so her French is actually pretty good. But her teachers weren't from Quebec or any French Canadian. They were all Parisian French. It was all like France French. So when she speaks French, she's got the Parisian accent.
But even when I was in Manitoba, right, I lived in a French Canadian town, but the school I went to, École Guillaume, like all the damn teachers were Belgian. Right? So it's like, all these kids, like all the kids who really learned their French on the streets had the Manitoban French accent. All the kids who learned their French in school sounded kind of Euro.
That's funny because we never we had mandatory French. I think grade 7 and grade 8, maybe even grade 6 as well.
Okay.
And I think one of our teachers was definitely French Canadian, and I think one of them wasn't. And we weren't smart enough to make a distinction between it.
Right. Because they're both just French, right?
Yeah, it was just we're trying to learn French, and none of us liked French. We all hated it. It was.
Yeah, that's because French in school sucks. French on the street or French in the home is great. French in school, because of the way it's the same thing with math. If you get a great math teacher who teaches math in a different way, then math is great. But if you have, a teacher who teaches math the way math is supposed to be taught in Canadian schools, then you freaking hate math. And I find that French is the same way.
I guess it's the same. I was about to say we never saw any use in learning French, but I guess you could say the same thing about math. There's so much in math that you'll never use again. So, yeah. And I by the way, I totally regret not learning French as much as was available to me during the time. I wish I could speak French now, especially since my last name is French and people automatically assume I can speak French.
Right, of course.
Mallory, absolutely. Why aren't you in here talking to us?
Is she even here? I am so far behind in the chat. I'm trying to catch up, but Russell, you keep saying interesting stuff.
But really?
Yeah.
That's a switch.
Scott says Sasquatch really did come from his neck of the woods. It is the Chehalis band out here in BC. Interesting. So the question we're trying. Man, did you answer it as well? And I've just
is that like
missed that?
They laid down some sick tracks on an album, or is that like First Nations?
I'm pretty sure it's a First Nations band there, Russell. Jeez.
Well, when people talk about bands and they got weird names in front of them, I don't know. I've never heard of Chehalis.
No, me neither. Shawnee says she wishes you would wear your glasses more often.
City Girl doesn't like these glasses. She I bought these without her input, and she looked at them and said no. She likes my old glasses.
Yeah.
But I was just looking for functional glasses I could read the screen.
Cliff says one of these nights we'll have to do a green room talk on anime. Fair enough.
The
Oh,
anime or the
holy crap. He has the whole series on DVD. You are my hero. Because it is not available anywhere. And I've been wanting to watch some for old times. Hey, there she is. Hey, Mal. Still waiting on your mom to answer if she can make some maple suckers. Oh, those maple oh man, if she's making those, I'll be over in about 12 seconds. Tenenbaum says my French teacher was Moroccan. That had an unexpected side effect. That's a very specific form of French. I like it though. For as long as I can remember, I've had a real Jones to go and see Morocco. Mallory's been picking the slugs. You don't put the little dish of beer in the ground? Mike says Spanish is their second language down there. Yeah. I have a question that no one is going to care enough. No one that I have asked really cares about. But in Quebec, the schools that are trilingual are all English, French, and Spanish.
Spanish, really?
Yeah. Oh, and if you go to like anything that Tourism Quebec does, like all their little plaques that they put around interesting blah, it's always English, French. No, it's always French, Spanish, and English, or maybe French, Spanish, then French, English, then Spanish. But there's this real sort of trilingual thing. And I just keep wondering, like, where I live, why isn't my daughter learning Mohawk in school? Right? I mean, I guess it's obviously because we teach our kids the languages that we think will do them well in a commerce-oriented society. But why are languages viewed as... Maybe my superpower should be that I would be able to see a language as something other than a consumer item or something. I think that I like, why isn't Mohawk being taught as a third language around here? Is that a Budweiser?
No, this is actually a Newcastle Brown Ale.
Legit
but
choice.
I can tell you why Mohawk isn't being taught is because nobody speaks it.
Well, I know some people who speak it.
Yeah, but is that their language? Well, let me put it this way. I mean, and not that I've got anything wrong with it. I totally agree with you. I think it'd be really cool to speak some First Nations languages. But I mean, are there people that speak Mohawk and don't speak anything else?
I would say there's virtually no one left who speaks Mohawk and nothing else. But I mean, I've spent some time on Gakhnawage, and my stepfather-in-law lives on Ganasatake. And I have heard, Mohawk parents speaking to their kids and sort of doing the same language flip that you hear in Quebec all the time. I mean, non-native Quebec all the time, stop playing in the puddle, it's fatumouye. Like, there's a flip halfway through kind of thing. And I heard the exact same thing, but it was English Mohawk. So, I mean, obviously these languages were dead for a long time. Let's face it. The only people speaking them were the really old elders and stuff. But they've been making a comeback in a big enough way that I don't even know where I'm going with this anymore. I had a real clear focus when I started this conversation, and somewhere it sort of disappeared, maybe into the bottom of a glass or something. But
somewhere wrestle happened.
Well, I think that we view languages as something, as a means to a fiscal end or an economic end, or you know what I'm saying, to make you more business friendly. And I think that's a terrible way to view language. to view something as rich and living as a language. Learning a language so that you can do better at business seems to lack soul to me. And I mean, most of the people in the side chat here are people who hit the woods to get their soul back. So maybe there's some appreciation for what I'm saying there, but I see a language as a cultural thing rather than a fiscal. I don't mean fiscal. I'm trying to, what's the word for,
social or
no, financial stuff, like getting an MBA instead of an English degree. You know what I'm saying? I'm not thinking so great in either official language tonight.
Yeah.
It's like the difference between seeing someone as a human versus a human resource. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like learning a language for a monetary reason, I guess. A bit, to make your kids more business oriented. It seems like a terrible reason to do it.
I think to learn Mohawk or something like that is just because it's making a resurgent or just because it's becoming popular again is not a good reason to learn it. I think if you are Mohawk, I think that's a great reason to learn it, so you don't forget your roots, so you don't forget your heritage.
Mm-hmm.
But practically speaking, I mean, everything I spent 3 years learning French in school, grade 6, grade 7, grade 8, and the amount of French I know right now, nothing. I don't remember any of it. And I think if I learned any language in a few years, I've forgotten most of it.
You have to really use it to maintain it,
Well, exactly. You have to have a reason to right? Like I spent a long time, like months, if not a couple of years, learning Spanish. Like I took Spanish audiobooks in my car. I was learning conversational Spanish like every day. I used to drive an hour or two from work, sort of thing. And then I'd go through Rocket Spanish, and I'd be talking it and learning it. And what do I remember now of it? And this wasn't that long ago either. Oh yeah, that was 10 years ago actually. But I don't remember any of it. Nothing. Zero.
Yeah, I spent a couple of semesters learning German in Cégep, or maybe university, something post high school. But the reason I learned German was just because I thought it was pure curiosity. I liked the sound of German. There was no logic to it aside from that. I like languages. I love the way Arabic looks on a page. I love the way sort of the North African, sort of the Moroccan's Arabic sounds when it's spoken. I love how written Japanese is essentially problem solving writ large, right? How the Chinese writing system didn't suit Japanese very well. So what did they do? They came up with 2 more writing systems, so that every book is 3 writing systems altogether, right? The central concept is in Chinese characters, and then the conjugation happens in either hiragana, which is Japanese letters essentially, or katakana, which are Japanese letters that are reserved for loan words or like onomatopoeia, like not really onomatopoeia, but sounds, stuff like that, or like what we would consider to be italics. What kind of engineering mindset do you have to do to come up with that? I like Swedish. In fact, thanks to Duolingo, I'm back to learning Swedish just out of pure ass curiosity. Pure ass curiosity spurred by the fact that I am convinced that the information on the Grants First Brook website, Bushcraft Superpower, is about the Swedish carving axe, the right versus left-handed grind. I am sure that there is a translation error there, and that is why half the people out there get the grind wrong. But I'm the type of person who will take any excuse to learn even like a small section of a language. So good enough for me.
Okay, I gotta ask everybody else watching here, every now and then, like just when he was ending that paragraph, his voice went so high it kind of peaked and maxed out. Did anybody else hear that?
Do you want me to turn down my? Hold on.
No, just talk louder and get really close to your mic like this as you're talking louder.
Hey there, Russell. How's it going?
You're not talking
Welcome
louder.
to
Talk louder.
Talk louder. Wait, get me excited about something. Talk about something I'm going to be excited about. Mention knives or axes or something.
Have you seen Princess Mononoke?
Hell yeah!
Is it a great movie?
It's an amazing movie. Have you seen it? You have to see this movie. If you haven't seen this movie, here's the thing about Studio Ghibli. I was introduced to Studio Ghibli through the Fantasia Film Festival in Montreal way back when it was literally just Asian films. So everything was either like a Hong Kong action film or an anime or blah. And so I saw Princess Mononoke in the cinema, and it just pinned my ears to the wall. I was like, I am in love with whoever did this. And so when Netflix started carrying all the Ghibli stuff, my daughter and I immediately started. I was like, you have got to see this. And we started with Ponyo. And rediscovering these films with a 9-year-old gives them all the magic right back. You know how you see stuff and then, because you're an adult, you become jaded and jaundiced and dumb. But rewatching these movies now, it just sort of brings back the original magic for me. We are so behind in the chat. Hold on.
It's interesting because I saw Princess Mononoke with my kids when they were about that old. Mm-hmm. And I said to them afterwards, I said, okay, who is the bad person in this movie? And they thought about it and they're like, okay, the woman that ran the iron mill. And I said, well, why? She was just protecting all those people. She's a businesswoman. She was just looking and they're like, oh, okay. Well, the gods then like, okay, well, they're just trying to protect their forest. It's like the search for the bad person in the movie was like, oh my God, there was no bad person. They were just looking out for their own,
Yeah, I guess you're right. Huh. I'd never even thought of that. By the way, when you were asking if the Chicha something band was a bunch of musicians or not, Scott came back to you with, it's First Nations, but they probably have sick tracks too. That is the best response all night.
They probably do.
Yeah. Fox Cliff is mentioning that he also has 2 of the 3 movies as well from Ranma 1/2. Hey, did you know, Cliff, that they made a live action film very recently that I still cannot watch and probably wouldn't want to, but whatevs. And Mal comes back with something that's all yuck. Gosh, I got a bucket full of slugs, like literally full.
Now, what do you do with them? Do you put them in a stew or something?
Ah!
If you cook them long enough, I'm sure people won't notice. They'll be like,
they're just really big escargot, right?
No, I'm thinking of what do you sometimes find in turkey dressing? I can't think of it.
I don't know, but it's grossing me out now. Going Green Mom, how's it going? Am I still peaking, by the way? Is my sound still peaking? Because I turned down my mic just a little touch.
I noticed a couple of people said yes. But
I am way behind on the chat.
Like 99% of the time it doesn't happen. It's every now and then you just go, you're like, it's like, I don't know if I can do it in the same way. But hey, if you listen to me now as you're hearing it.
Did it? Oh yeah, you totally peaked just there. But like, does it happen when I'm closer to the mic?
Nope, it didn't happen.
No?
There. You got to speak louder.
Does it happen when I'm right next to the mic? You see, the thing is, I turned down just a little bit, eh? That's not weird. It's pure physics of sound. I turned it down, so why you got to be like that?
Well, we're trying to
problem solve is what we're doing here.
Recreate the problem. Mal, get in here with us. Jesus. She's like, oh, too tired, but I'll type like crazy in chat.
yeah, she's too busy with her bucket full of slugs.
Put it in a stew and forget about it, Mal.
This shows you how far I am behind. Jess, deeper knowledge of a language is a window to greater cultural understanding. That's by Tenenbaum. Yeah, and that's a nice summing up of kind of what I was trying to say, but doing poorly.
Well,
Going Green Mom sees them sees languages as an art form. I see being able to read music the same as being able to read a language, and I am terrible at reading music. But it's just another language in some ways, you know. So I should probably give that a bigger go.
It's tough for me. I mean, I think the previous comment. What was it? It was deeper understanding of a language. Absolutely,
Right,
but what does it take to get deeper understanding of a language? I mean, right now I'm looking for conversational Spanish or French even. So how do I get to deeper knowledge of a language? Like, do I got to start studying the history of? You know,
if you're looking for the deeper understanding of the culture, then sometimes you do have to read up on their history. But like, you know, Duolingo is great if you're just learning the damn language, right? You know what I'm saying? And there's a free version, Duolingo. That's the app I use for Swedish. It's very well put together, and there's a free version and a paid version. Duolingo?
Never heard of it.
Really? Actually, geez, I wonder, I wonder if they have Mohawk. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Hey, did you hear about I think it was during World War II when they used I don't know which group it was. It was some First Nations tribe. They hired a bunch of these guys from the First Nations tribe to do like to come up with code.
Oh, yeah. Code talkers or whatever. Were they Navajo or something? No, I have that wrong, but yeah.
The enemies couldn't figure it out. That's an awesome story.
Yeah, that's really good. I don't know, but there might be like a First Nations language in there too. Going Green Mom, right? We've got that conversation. Shawnee says I used to watch Attack on Titan for anime.
I've seen Attack on Titan. I think my favorite. Well, certainly my favorite movie is Princess Mononoke. My favorite TV show would be the Ghost in the Shell series.
I haven't seen that. I didn't know there was a series.
The two seasons.
I've seen the film for sure, but
probably not what you're thinking, because the TV show is like very in depth, lot of conversation, like very little action, but it's very smart. It's very is
this a Netflix show?
Is it on Netflix? I'm not sure.
Or Amazon Prime or something?
Probably not. I saw it years ago.
Because I saw the original film. I did not watch the live action, but I saw the original movie of it, and I thought it was brilliant. I mean, I have the anime over there in English and in Japanese for some bizarre reason. But yeah, great stuff.
The original movie was good. The live action movie, even though it was written by somebody I actually know.
I'm not paying to watch Scarlett Johansson be the major.
That was such a.
You guys keep talking about anime. I had to pop up here.
Cliff. All right. I hope you're eating something.
I can eat more pepperoni.
If you're not eating, you're not welcome.
I swear, the last couple of times I've seen Cliff on screen, he's sitting there going.
I try to covertly munch. That way, I'm not like completely interrupting the stream.
You know what's funny about that? I was on a live stream at some point back when Clémence was we were at the point where we were still making baby food for her, and I was on somebody's live stream. I don't remember who, and one of the people said, every time I see you online, you're making food. And I sort of thought back and yeah, I think she's right, because every time I'm on a live stream, it's because I'm making, Clémence's food for the week. Because what I would do is boil up stuff and then throw it in the hobo, the malaxar. Not a grinder. What the hell's a Malaxar? Yeah, like a food processor, but the tall one that. Yes. And like, so every time I'd be making food, I'd be on somebody's live stream in the panel discussion, and someone so totally called me out. You're always making food. I said, yeah, you're kind of right.
I'm gonna make a lot of you guys in here jealous, but I have this thing.
Oh wow. Okay.
All in its original language. You can do the English subtitles on there, but I've got the whole thing. Like,
Wow.
Still in the original packaging?
Yeah, the whole box is still in its original box.
Oh,
I've had this thing for so long that the glue has actually come off on some of these.
Yeah, that's cool.
I got the whole collection. Bam, and I got bam, and see, told you I've had it for forever. And I got this thing at a location of town where technically my kind is not exactly welcome normally, unless you have an escort.
Was that expensive?
About $100. When I bought it back in, God, like 97, 98.
So for those who don't know what that is, like what's all in that package?
Oh God, I got, let's see, Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind, Porco Rosso, Princess Mononoke.
Hey, I haven't actually seen Porco Rosso yet.
It's funny.
I loved Nausicaa though.
Let's see, there's oh my God, dude, I can't even remember half the names of it. 3 of these I never even watched before until I got this DVD collection. And then there's oh God, what's that super sad one? Where the kids get separated from their parents in like World War II, World War One. Oh, I've drawn a blank now. Oh, Grave of the Fireflies.
So far, I've only seen one of those.
Man, Russell, you got to watch some more of these, bro.
Everything, they're all on Netflix.
Most of them are.
Camille's favorite is Ponyo. But that's because it's the first one. I forget it was the safest one for a kid who was at that point 7 or 8.
Yeah, I've seen Howl's Moving Castle. I've seen
that's a good one.
Spirited Away.
Also very good. That studio makes fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
Somewhere I've got The Cat Returns, but I have no idea where it's at.
It's like I don't know what drugs those guys were doing, but we need some of those,
Yeah.
Right? Oh yeah. Speaking of which, watch Jess. I don't know if I trip on my container over here.
While you're over there, I just wanted to see if I can catch up with the side chat because I feel like I'm neglecting. Going Green Mom says the local tribe here also seems to want to protect their language from the outside. They have classes and stuff for tribal members, but most you can see otherwise is one vocab word per day. Cliff Mal says she just sent you the clip.
Yeah, I got it. It literally, it was like a 5-gallon bucket, 4 gallons of slugs.
Yuck. No.
Yeah, and they were climbing out of the bucket. Here, I'm going to take you guys on a journey across my bedroom.
On a journey across time and space.
By the way, all of this, all the way to the floor is anime.
Oh.
And we're going to go turbo. All of that, all the way up to my dresser's anime. And then all of this, all the way to the floor.
Wow.
But here's the one I wanted to make you jealous on. If you can. I have all of them. Here, you know what? Let me just do it this way. Because I can move this. What?
Wow. Holy schnitzel. I would take those in a Montreal minute.
2 movies right there at the end.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, if you want to talk anime, I can do this for hours.
Right.
Because I have probably 10 grand worth of anime sitting here.
Jesus.
At least. And I've got some very disturbing animes, too. Where the heck is my charge hole?
Did you used to watch Lane?
I have that one. That is disturbing, to be honest. That is
Yeah,
a
but it's
messed
compelling
up one.
stuff. I liked it. It was very bizarre.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
dark, like wicked dark.
I like it. Hike with Mike brings us back to the language thing. The best language is the sounds of the birds and other animals in the wilderness. I definitely buy into that. Going Green Mom says, I did 4 years of French in high school, 2.5 of Spanish, 2 years at college for Spanish, and have dabbled in Italian.
Oh my
I switched
God,
back to
that's good.
French. I'm better to integrate French because of YouTube. Yeah, that's fair. There's a lot of good quality French content on YouTube.
Certainly social media has changed everything. Where back in the day when you needed to know somebody with the other language to practice it and stuff like that, now you can easily find people to talk to in other languages.
Yeah.
By the way, I think it's hilarious that this outdoor superpower live stream has turned into a
Anime chat.
Yeah.
Or, well, you guys were talking about old ones from like the 80s. I got it right here.
Yep. Yep. In fact, Robotech
Old
is
school
on
Robotech.
is on Netflix right now.
Actually, they have like 3 different versions of Robotech on Netflix.
Yeah. Scott likes Princess Mononoke as well. He says it's the bomb. Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
You know what the magical thing about Princess Mononoke to me is do we care about spoilers? We probably don't. Anyway, the magical thing was this guy is leaving his home forever, and he's on this red elk, and he's got the only thing he owns is what he's got with him, and he's just taken off, and he's like at that part he's flying across the fields on his red elk, and I'm like, this is magical. He's just that part alone, him just riding off with only what he's carrying. I was like, God damn, I love this.
Yeah.
Just to stop the Boar King from destroying the forest.
Right.
Oh, all that, and those creatures in the trees. The
spirits.
I don't know.
I love the spirits. A lot of people get creeped out by them because they just sit there and they're like deadpan and they just go.
Forest spirits.
Speaking of creepy, check out this thing that Simon says.
It just happened again. Sorry, Jess.
Just there?
Yeah.
Just peeked out. Yeah.
Right when you said speaking of which, it went all full tilt.
Really?
So when you rewatch this at 101 minutes in.
All right, I'll give it a check. So I'm peaking at some points. I'm wondering if it's a volume thing. I've just turned my mic down a little bit more. So Simone says, I've met both Yeti and Sasquatch at a party where my date left with Elvis. So Simone gets the award for the most surreal comment in one of my videos so far.
Wait, I gotta ask, did Elvis have 2 heads? Come on, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference?
Yeah, I got it.
I didn't watch that movie in forever.
Did you read the books?
I was never much of a reader. I had a hard time just reading the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Okay, Cliff. Well, Lord of the Rings trilogy is a freaking hard read. Okay.
Yeah, it's a kick in the pants.
But the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series is a must read. You have to drop everything and read that, Cliff.
Think about it's funny because I was just talking about Lord of the Rings today at work.
Not dropping my pants just to read it.
Fair.
I will hunt you down, Cliff, and I will rip your pants off. I will grab you by the cheeks.
By the knee skin?
Sorry,
Mercy.
Yes,
we can go back to talking about slugs.
No, because it's too related to what he was just talking about.
By the slugs. And,
I knew it. I fucking knew it.
Oh, man.
Well, now we know why Mallory's not coming on. She says, I'm lying down on my couch, kicking up my feet. I don't have the energy to go to my computer.
Lazy.
She's probably asleep by now, right?
Lazy ass.
Going way back. Oh, man, I am so late. Going Green Mom says, I think reading music is processed in the same area of the brain. That's probably riffing off the comment I made about I didn't see written music as just another written language. Tenenbaum says, Russell, you have to use a language every day for many years. Speaking it with people who speak it helps. I am sort of all in Swedish immersion program myself. Oh, I'm in a sort of all in Swedish immersion program yourself. Well, living in Sweden definitely would do that.
Going Green Mom, I use Duolingo too. I'm on French. We have used them for Japanese, Russian, German, Italian, Spanish, and French. LOL.
I used to know a good amount of German when I was there for 3 months, but that was when I was 14, 15. It's been 25 years since then.
Right. Oh, and by the way, Russell, we have several people saying that they were Navajo, the code talkers.
I saw that. Yeah. You are way behind.
Oh man, it's redonkulous. Chris tells me that I have an iPhone 11, so I'll check that out. Not that I'm gonna go looking for a whole bunch of indigenous language apps right now, but it's a thought experiment I have sometimes. In between trying to figure out what my outdoors superpower might be.
I kind of wish mine would be to collect trash within 500 meters and just have it all coalesce in one spot in front of me.
Yeah. Especially these days where you sort of hit the woods, and everyone who hasn't been able to go to Paris this year or the Dominican have decided to try out camping, and they've left crap everywhere.
You'd be surprised, man. I've watched some of Travis's videos, and he was out in the middle of nowhere on one of his hikes with a Maverick, and they were literally finding fence posts and fences, and they found a cooler out in the middle of the woods. It was like 15, 20 miles into the woods. I'm like, dude, how?
Yeah, if I found a cooler that far into the woods, I wouldn't open it.
Well, it was like bits and pieces of the cooler. It was like one of those foam ones that you get for like fishing, or you just buy at the store for like $5 to put your beer in.
Or your severed heads.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jess's statement was equivalent to saying, if I found a shallow grave off in the wilderness,
I would not dig it up.
I'm digging it. You might think there's a body in there, but you know what? There could be a good stash of other things in there too that might be worth some more money.
Yikes. Cliff, yikes.
What anime have you been watching again, Cliff?
The weirdest stuff ever.
I just think outside the box. I've watched a lot of random stuff on YouTube, and you'd be surprised what some people find in those shallow graves.
I would also be dismayed to find at what I would find in your history, in your YouTube history.
You would have a lot of stuff to scroll through. I probably have 2,000 plus videos that I've watched. Easy. You'd be there for weeks.
Okay, first guy I've come across who's proud of his browser history.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way: the FBI hasn't come after me yet.
He's the only one who's like, no, don't have my browser history. Post that online. Post that shit out.
Yeah, right.
Play it on a loop during my funeral.
Right.
What are they going to do? I'm dead now. They can't get me. Are they going to dig me out of the ground and charge me something?
Right.
Good luck, suckers.
Man, okay. So this is how far back I am. Ooh,
Yeah.
probably asleep. No, you're just way behind on chat. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to catch up here, and it's...
Pull a Russell and just scroll to the bottom.
Yeah, except that twice now I've made really great comments during Books Fest, and he's scrolled right past them. So
Cliff, when I do that, there's 300 people watching.
That's true. Your chat section just goes. Zzz.
yeah.
Jess has got 12 people watching. Come on, Jess.
What you know what? Why you gotta be hating? Showing off your 300.
I'm not hating. I'm just responding to the knob down here. He's talking.
Just remember, I can poke you right in the knob. Bubbles.
Okay, there, boys. Boys. Yeah, Going Green Mom is taking me down to, man, how did I end up the bitch of the room again? Like always. I feel sad.
Sometimes your guests are so interesting that you lose track of chat. You know, it happens.
Right? Come on. That's
Yeah, I mean, you
totally
got
legit.
Russell up there with his, 5,000 subs.
Yeah.
I'm just realizing now that my shirt kind of makes it look like I'm bodiless, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're kind of, but look at mine. We're both
Just got the
bodiless.
same effect going.
We're a couple of disembodied.
Got floating heads. I'm the only one wearing like a normal shirt you can actually see on screen.
We're like those forest gods, whatever they're called.
Just they're fun little spirits.
Yeah. What the hell are they called again?
I think they're just little. I think they're just normal spirits.
Or I think it's a forest spirit. Let's take a look.
Okay, first of all, this is normal spirits.
Spirit. Oh yeah, it's a forest spirit. Oh no, the forest spirit comes up as the deer thing.
Yeah, because those are the main spirits. Type that over. Yeah, I think they're just regular spirits.
Kodama. They're Kodama.
Dharmas. Yep.
I like how you brought up the deer thing nicely, bringing us right back to outdoors superpower.
What? That's a bit of a stretch.
Actually,
I'm stretching because I'm trying to get us back on track, and it's not working.
Actually, you know what a really good superpower would be for the outdoors?
What?
To touch a downed tree and watch that tree just go right back to where it used to be before it blew over.
Actually, that would be terrific. That would be a great superpower if you can bring back those trees.
Heck yeah. Just poke a tree and watch that thing just come right back to life.
Like walk through a clear-cut section of forest, arms out, and just have all the trees pop up. See, now we're getting into the superpower that I was talking about before. That's like maybe a little less of what I was talking about, but still fairly interesting.
I think I would hit the old growth forest first instead of the new growth, like the newer generations, like stuff from the 1900s, 1800s. I'd hit those forests first because you imagine getting those trees that are like 250, 300, 500 years old just pop back up all of a sudden.
You know,
ring formation and everything.
So you're sort of, this is not where you wanted to bring us, but I'm going to go there anyway. Is there a way to create a kind of economic value for a forest that is not clear cut, that is left in the way it is? With that, like, do you have to go to ecotourism to monetize leaving a forest to grow?
You're talking about select cutting.
Maybe. Maybe it was like I remember years and years and years ago there was an African prime minister who wrote an op-ed about how what they had to do was find a way to monetize forest that is in its natural state, because you can't beat the monetization of a forest as a natural resource.
You can't beat it.
Essentially be the same as a state park.
You can't beat clear cutting, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you can't really beat clear cutting, but if you can come up with a way to monetize forest in its primeval state or primordial state, I'm not sure what the word is I'm looking for here. Without if you can make it worthwhile for a country to not clear cut, to not take out, not replace forest with pasture land for burgers or for pulp and paper or whatever. And it's something that this is a long time ago, but it's something I've been pondering ever since. It pops up every now and again. I don't mean like I've always got it on the back burner, but I mean, it's something that I think about every now and again. And I wonder, and maybe that would be a superpower. If you could figure out a way to make it worth a country's while. Like Costa Rica kind of did that, right? They've gone way into the ecotourism thing. Like way in, and it seems to be working out for them.
Essentially, you could do that, but it would be like kind of like tour guide system where you would like hire a tour guide to take you through the backwoods so you don't get lost yourself and have to have a rescue crew come and get you. But you could do tour guides like that and have them just take you 30, 40 miles into the bush.
Yeah.
On like a little eco tour or whatever, where you're not destroying anything. You would just be going down like any natural path that's already there. You could do it that way.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Oh, hold on. Tenenbaum says Hap Wilson's basic idea for temagami. I always read that word as temagami, but it's because
temagami for some reason.
Oh, the very first time I saw it, I thought it was temagami too. So don't worry about yourself. There is ecotourism, develop canoe routes and hiking trails. Now, here's the question though. But do you make enough off a patch of forest doing that to offset the possibly short-term but large income that would be generated by clear cutting that same patch of area?
In the long run, probably it would probably take you 5 to 10 times the amount of time in order to get that same monetization that you were monetary income that you would get from clear cutting the entire thing and turning it into a dirt wasteland.
Yeah, but Going Green Mom says my uncles have a firestorm come out and only selectively cut, and he also found wild ginger. So I'm gonna say she meant forester.
Yeah, that seems a bit weird.
I'm thinking there's an autocorrect thing happening.
Forester.
Oh yeah, say firestorm is usually, or fire sale, something usually technologically.
Yeah,
where everything goes, crashes everything.
Oh, never mind. Yes, it's a forester. Yes.
Yeah, but it's, no matter what you come up with, all these lovey, canoe trips or selective, nothing is going to be as high a, what's
Night Mark.
What's the word I'm looking for? Higher profit as clear cutting.
It's because they see it as a commodity, and that sort of it hits at the fact that corporate citizens and private citizens will always be at odds with each other, right? Because private citizens will get more benefit out of a national park, whereas corporate citizens will definitely get more of a benefit out of a clear-cut wasteland, right?
Yep.
Tenenbaum is continuing with what he was talking about. These are amongst the last old-growth forests in Ontario, so they were unique examples of a basically absent form of ecotourism. That's the Temagami thing that Tenenbaum was mentioning. And yeah, that timber is and was worth a fortune, absolutely. But maybe what I'm trying to get at is that there's an inherent worth to forest or anything really, apart from just as a natural resource.
Yeah, we got to find alternates for wood, because if we keep clear cutting all over forests, we ain't gonna have no oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, our atmosphere is already some trees as it is.
Yeah, good point. It is, by the way, 11 o'clock, so we're going to shut this down. So thanks.
Oh, my clock is off.
So thanks, Russell, for coming on. It's always a lot more interesting when you're here than when I'm here alone.
Certainly more weird when I'm here.
Next time we got to get Mallory on. She's going to bed right now, but I'll be going to bed pretty damn soon too. But next time we got to get Mallory on. Maybe get her to do bangs next time for you. Cliff, nice to have you actually on screen this time. And now that I've seen that anime collection, you could just send me the Ranma.
Jealous.
Maybe just a little. I just wish that I could watch it online at least, But anyways, between now and next week, everyone, please stay safe, stay sane, stay healthy, and be kind to one another. Good night, all.
Laters. Have fun, y'all. Poke this guy really apart.
I thought Russell was going to pee soup, but okay. Good night.